You hear this all the time. It's a gooner game. It's a gooner game. It's a gooner game. You know usually how you hear it from? Is people that are even either guys that are trying to virtue signal or girls that are insecure. That's it. That's the reason. It's so annoying, bro. Ugh.
When it comes to recent and modern discourse surrounding video games, especially newer ones, the focus is
That's
often
Thunder Fury.
shifted to depictions of women in games. How female characters are designed and what has changed now when we compare them to designs from older games. If you are at all aware of conversations like these in online spaces like Twitter or YouTube, then you know that this is a conversation that gets very heated very fast. I have weighed in on this topic myself several times, and this is something that I like discussing and giving my opinion on because I feel like not enough women in this space feel like they can be honest.
Yeah, I think that's the reality. Is like most of the people that are talking about this are guys like me, right? And so like, okay, you've got another fucking grungy ass neckbeard, long hair, fucking 30-year-old guy that doesn't have a girlfriend sitting around talking about how the girls in video games need to have bigger boobs, right? It's like, yeah, of course you think that. Of course, right? But like when you have a girl that's talking about it, I think that people might take it a bit more seriously, right?
The reason for that is exactly what I just mentioned. The conversation gets heated very fast, all sorts of labels and mean words get thrown around.
They sure
It's
do.
not really something that most people want to deal with, understandably. Lucky for you guys, I don't really care, so I'm gonna say it anyway. One of the stupidest and most hollow arguments that you will hear when you bring up the fact that there has been a very obvious change in how women are depicted in video games.
Yeah, they look like men. They look like androgynous men. Their boobs are smaller, they're uglier, they look older, and they're made to probably reflect the people that made the game, which is not what people want to be. Okay, you want to be you want to see people like that? Go to Walmart.
But you are wrong for criticizing it, and you just want female characters to fit into your hyper-femme fantasy of fuckability.
What's wrong with that? You can have these girls that write these books about sucking a horse's for 500 pages, but meanwhile, we can't have a human female with a larger than D-cup chest? Get the fuck out of here. Some chick wants to write a book about being 5'1". Her boyfriend is a 7'8" werewolf that's a billionaire. And it's like half of the pages in the book are describing the veins on his dick. But somehow, Eve from Stellar Blade is too much. This is ridiculous.
This is a real comment that I got, by the way, on my World of Warcraft video where I talk about how Liadrin does not look like a blood elf.
Probably from a fat person, a fat chick.
Doesn't really fit that specific,
no, she doesn't.
Already well-established look that we've grown accustomed to for years.
Yeah, because exactly.
One thing that is said to me over and over again whenever I bring this up is that I just want to pander to gooners, and that unless video game characters look like porn stars, they're apparently not good enough for me. I find it so hypocritical and ironic that the people that accuse me of these sorts of things are the ones that are bringing this conversation into some very vulgar and sexual places.
Of course.
It is incredibly harmful to equate femininity to a term like fuckability. It's weird, and it suggests that presenting as more feminine is this thing that solely revolves around being more attractive to men, and that it cannot just be a thing where women express themselves in this way for the sake of expressing themselves in this way.
All it is it's a bunch of chicks that want to remove attractive female representation in popular media because it makes them feel insecure about the way they look. That's the reason why they want to do it. And the other people that are part of it, there are some girls that pay lip service to this, but I'll tell you one thing. All of these girls, if you see them make their characters in a video game, they always make their characters look at least as attractive as they are, if not more. You never see any of these girls, unless they're trying to make like some crazy, weird, like stupid-looking Bloodborne character, right? Other than that, if they're trying to make it look like them, they make it look even more attractive than they are. Every single time. It's because it's not really what they believe. It's just what they're trying to say so they can feel good. That's all.
I've already said this in my Why I Only Play Old Games video, where it's starting to feel a lot like femininity and the term in itself, especially in gaming, is becoming this like inherently evil, vulgar thing. With comments like this, my point is proven. For some reason, calling for more feminine characters that aren't big, strong, muscular girl bosses or haven't had their appearance visibly toned down from their real-life models is seen as equal to asking for something really offensive and crass.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that either. Like, there's nothing wrong for wanting attractive characters in video games. Like, I disagree with the entire premise that this is even a problem to begin with. It's media. Do you want to know the main reason why I watched the movie Underworld? No, you don't. Because we all have the same reason, and it's obvious.
People for speaking about it is wrong. Pretending that being more drawn to conventionally attractive characters is anything but human nature is also wrong. And I do think that there are definitely things that can be unhelpful in this discussion, like that one meme that somebody made with the character from Ghost of Yotai, where they added the really exaggerated chest and said,
Here's what's funny. I bet if you put the game out like that, it would have sold more copies.
This is made for gamers. But I see that, and I don't personally take this seriously. I actually think that this is more than likely satire. It's a sort of a rage bait that people seem to fall for every time.
They do.
I just know that Reddit had a field day.
Well, the problem, the reason why they fall for it is because I think a lot of people realize that it's probably true. There's a reason why a lot of girls get breast implants. There's a reason why a lot of these girls go and they get plastic surgery.
That one. Now, first of all, conventionally attractive does not necessarily mean sexy, but on the topic of sexy game characters, I did do a video about this.
A great example of conventionally attractive but not overtly sexy is Expedition 33. All the characters in that game were conventionally attractive and appealing, but they were not overtly sexualized in a way that was dehumanizing or problematic. So it's actually extremely easy to do, and it's not a problem at all.
A while back. How do women really feel about them in games? So this is something that I actually talked to my mom about as well, but also just based on the comment section from that video, the thing that I've gathered is that what we really want are options. We want the option to be able to run around in a chainmail bikini or go full coverage plate armor, epic medieval knight style.
I think this is also a really good point too that she's bringing up, is that I don't think that in the same way that you have the newer developers that are trying to force these androgynous bald women onto you, I don't think that you should also try to force hypersexualized women onto other people either. I think giving people choices and letting them play what they want is generally a better option rather than trying to force them into doing and seeing things the way that you want. A balance? Yeah, let people choose.
It's true, even if you look at the sort of transmogs that girls do for their World of Warcraft characters. And I think that's super fair. And you know what game had options? The original Oblivion. Remember my video on censorship in the Oblivion remaster where I showed the changes in clothing and armor that were made to appear less feminine?
Yeah, I see. Her boobs are smaller. Look at that. There you go.
On the female body. The part about them making chests smaller, taking away the
absolutely.
things from female bodies that we literally cannot help having in favor of that more androgynous.
It's the reason why there is no one who hates attractive women more than women who feel like they are less attractive than that woman. The inner female, like, hostility is insane.
Look,
nobody
one
hates
that I got
them
on
worse.
That video was that it's good that they got rid of that stuff, especially the boob armor, because
like, did y'all see real quick? Here, where's that fucking that video? Did y'all see that video of all those Karens on that escalator? Let me see if I can pull this up. It's gonna take me a minute, but trust me, guys, it's gonna be worth it. Okay. At the airport, yeah. If somebody can find a link to it, that'll make it easier. But I'll find it in just a second, because I saw this video and it was like exactly what I've been talking about over and over and over, right? I might not be able to find it. If I'm a big idiot, I might not be able to find it. I apologize if that's the case. Maybe we can find it somewhere else. Shit. There. Got it. Someone says, this is why women in video games have to be fat and ugly. Watch this. Yep. Wow.
I wanna hold them like they do in Texas, please. Fold them, let them hit me, raise it, baby, stay with me.
And this is so much different than guys. Because if you see a really good looking guy, like, you know, back in the day, whenever we were kids, when we saw He-Man, we were thinking, or Goku, we didn't think, oh my God, this is making me feel bad. We're thinking, oh my God, we need to start working out. That's the difference.
Love game, intuition, play the cards with space
Yeah.
to start. And after
Oh.
he's been hooked, I'll play the one that's on his heart.
This is Ho's Mad, episode 375. Yep.
I'll get him high, show him what I got.
For Dad. Man.
Get him high, show him what I got.
Man.
Can't read my,
Yep.
can't read my face.
Yep, this is the reason right here. This is why women in video games have to be fat and ugly. There it is. It's all a bunch of fat, old, ugly, disgusting swamp hags crying that not everybody wants to spend all day at Golden Corral eating mashed potatoes and drinking gravy.
That didn't exist in real life, and that doesn't make any sense. And you know what?
It's crazy.
That's a valid conversation to sit down and have, especially if you're going for a game with more historical accuracy in terms of things like armor. And that is something that I can totally get behind. But in taking certain options away, you do just that. You take away options. You see, in the original Oblivion, not every armor set changed on female characters.
Oh, we just saw her.
The steel armor set, for example, was the exact same on both genders. But if you really wanted that weird fantasy game look for female characters with the boob armor, you could have it as well. Sure, it's not practical, but none of this is real anyway. And if we start talking about
magic ain't practical either.
how about we don't mention the glass armor and how that would fare in the real world? But the armor changed along with all of the obvious changes to make chests smaller and less apparent or cover.
You see how this happens? We cannot let this happen, gentlemen. This is outrageous.
Completely told me everything that I needed to know. It sends
See that?
the message that the female body is this bad thing that we should cover up. We shouldn't bring any attention.
Yeah, because it's being pushed by fat, ugly women. That's the reason why. And simps that want to virtue signal to young women that pretend like they care about it, that they're one of the good guys. That's it.
To it, and the only valid female characters are the ones that are fully covered and look like they could take down any man with their bare hands.
Of course.
And look, there are times when that sort of thing can be really cool. I love a Brienne of Tarth moment. I think that she's such a cool character. No, she wasn't traditionally feminine, and yes, she was physically way stronger than the average woman and man. But there was a story to tell there. She was an interesting character who had this alternative take on femininity, and I didn't feel like she was that way just because. There was
Well, it was a complex character that was nuanced and interesting. That's the reason why it was good.
much meaning there. But when every single character is made to be a sort of Brienne of Tarth, it loses its meaning. It stops being interesting and special. It gets
Well, and
boring.
it's also that, and here's the other big issue, is that Brienne inside of Game of Thrones is shown in multiple very vulnerable states. And the problem that in a lot of these video games they have is that these characters are basically, like, Brienne isn't right in every single instance in Game of Thrones. It's not like she's always the good person or she always has the right opinion about everything. She's generally good, but in being such an oath-bound person, it also leads her to rigidity that causes her to run into problems, which is what makes her an interesting character. She's a multifaceted character, and her gender is part of her character that's very important, especially given what she is in the story, but it's not the entire story. And I think that's the big problem that you have whenever you compare a character like Brienne of Tarth to some other random girl boss. It's that these other girl boss characters are completely flawless. They never do anything wrong. They're right about everything. And anything bad that happens to them is probably done by a man. That's what happens. Like Tosh. Yeah, exactly.
At that point, it does feel like it's being done specifically to send some kind of message. It's actually insanely ironic just how conservative the standards have gotten when it comes to female game characters, especially in things like the Oblivion remaster, for which, funny enough, I got called a conservative for pointing it out. But people were praising the changes made in the remaster as if the original Oblivion was somehow this hypersexual game with a lot of focus on the female body, a greener game, if you will. But it wasn't. For me pointing out that there was nothing wrong with this, I got labeled all sorts of things. And honestly, real talk, if you have a problem with this, then I don't see you as any different than the bottom feeders from over at 4chan who come into my comment section and say things like, I'm prostituting myself for views when I wear a lower cut top in the video.
The reason that they are saying that is very simply because they're mad. They're mad, they're jealous, and a lot of these, what you need to understand is that there are a lot of people on the internet, on both sides, the incels and the Karens, that have a lot of personal unresolved trauma, and they use the internet as a way to offload that trauma onto the world. But the problem is that instead of disregarding them and not paying attention to them like we should, instead of that, now we're all listening to them. Now we're actually going around and being like, oh, well, maybe this person has a point. No, you don't have a point. You have a problem. You had a problem whenever you were 17, you're 19, 23, your girlfriend broke up with you, your boyfriend cheated on you, and from the rest of that time, you now hate every girl that looks like the girl that he cheated on you with. And now we have to hear about it every fucking day on the internet. That's the issue. That's the problem.
You guys are two sides of the same coin. In trying to tone down female characters
incels and
having
Karens,
visceral reactions when a studio makes
just like what I said,
a more revealing outfit, what we're actually ending up with are easily forgettable and generally bland designs for female characters. It's kind of like studios are afraid to make more appealing female characters.
Well, again, the thing is that, and this is why Western or Eastern studios are succeeding and non-American studios are succeeding. It's because they're not afraid to do what works. Like Baldur's Gate 3 is another great example of this, where all of the characters in Baldur's Gate 3, I would say, are generally attractive. Like the male characters are also attractive men. Like it's not like men want to be like fat and ugly and stupid. No, they also want to play good versions of themselves too. But nobody wants to be any of these.
Easily forgettable, not a lot of effort put into their design. But even going away from like the revealing outfits conversation, I don't think that an appealing female character needs to have a super revealing outfit. A character that I always bring up in these conversations is Jade from Beyond Good and Evil. She definitely has a more alternative take on femininity. She's more of a tomboy, shorter hair, unconventional color lipstick, but she sticks with you. You remember her. It's a character that's appealing not because she's this really sexy, hyper-feminine being, but she clearly is a female character that was designed by a person who has a positive attitude towards women. And that really shines through. She is strong in ways that don't necessarily mean that she has to be super jacked and she can wield a warhammer, but...
Well, this is another issue, too, is that I think that the way that they write characters, and I think this is just simply like millennial slop brain rot, is that a lot of the ways that they try to write female characters is they write them the same as a male character, except for it's a female. And I think that just men and women are just completely fundamentally different, and you just can't do that.
smart, and
It
that's
doesn't
part
work.
of gameplay. You are encouraged to find ways other than physical fighting to progress, and she does a really good job with all of that. I've kind of gone from making female characters less sexualized to making them super bland. More and more I find that female characters are turning into background character number 4. And it is in part because we're on this really weird crusade against these elusive gooners that seem to be ruining everything. I don't know why I should care.
The funny thing is that the gooners will always win because those games will succeed. That's why all of these gacha games are massively popular. They will always win every single time, and you're never going... It's still kind of like the fat acceptance movement. Like I've said this before, the entire fat acceptance movement is just a psyop by fat chicks into making guys not think they're disgusting. That's the only reason that there's a fat acceptance movement. If you look at any of the different groups of them, it's all fat chicks and some guys trying to fuck the fat chicks. But other than that, that's all there is to it. And so this is the exact same thing. And it's going to go nowhere. The same as the fat acceptance is going nowhere. That's it.
Somebody, God forbid, is attracted to one of my favorite female characters. Like, that's none of my business, really. It doesn't affect me that somebody's over there, like, drooling over a particular character.
Who cares?
But I'm enjoying it because games are meant to be fun. Part of the fun are appealing game characters. Because
Yes.
then you have cosplayers who take on the character and show
Yeah, you never see cosplayers dressing up as any of these ugly chicks, I'll tell you that.
their interpretation of it. And cosplay is such a great thing, in my opinion,
Yep.
because it really is open to everybody.
That's always my proof for what girls really like. Is that if girls really like these characters so much, then why don't they cosplay them? It's because you don't actually want to look like that character. It's the same thing like if you tell a girl that she looks like Lara Croft, I mean, assuming that like this isn't like a weird sexual harassment situation, she'd appreciate that. If you tell a girl that she looks like Tosh from Dragon Age, she won't. It's because these characters are ugly and they know it. Everybody knows it. Or, oh, you look like Abby from The Last of Us Part 2. Yeah, I don't think they're going to like that.
No matter your race, no matter what shape or size you are, no matter what your
Lizzo,
background
yeah.
is. I remember seeing this TikTok from a plus-size creator who was cosplaying a character from the anime One Piece. Don't quote me on that because I haven't watched One Piece, but I believe she was cosplaying Boa Hancock. Somebody in her comments said, well, actually, you look more like this character, and you probably should have done this cosplay instead. Again, I don't watch anime, I haven't watched One Piece, so I'm not sure exactly who they were referring to,
Yeah.
but I know that the character that they brought up is fat. The creator responded by saying, just because I'm plus-sized does not mean I always have to cosplay fat characters. And yeah, she is 100% right, because
Sure.
that's not what cosplay is. This idea that attractive characters are somehow harmful and they're not for everybody is absurd. Deep down, all of us want to look good. For me, like, that's part of the appeal of cosplay, getting a character who's really attractive, dressing up as this character, and seeing myself in that character. Appealing game characters inspire people, no matter what they look like or who they are, to come up with something, their own interpretation of said character. This whole thing of not appealing to someone's fantasy or the male fantasy, in the long run, is actually perpetuating an unhealthy attitude towards women. Not allowed
Well,
to
of course, right? I mean, because you have to censor the way that they look because some men might dress up in a bad way or some men might act in a bad way. It's ridiculous.
have attractive characters because the gooners might like them. Blaming attractive female characters because men are attracted to them.
Yes.
Just think about that for 1 second.
Yeah, and think about who would care about that. Like, ask yourself the question, why would you care that men are attracted to attractive women? Think about the group of people that affects. Yep.
At the end of the day, there is a conversation to be had here, absolutely, but the Gooner game argument is unproductive,
Everybody knows it.
unintelligent, and it does way more harm than good. There is this idea that women somehow cannot have this opinion that I'm expressing in this video, and that if we
Well, this
say
is one thing that women do, is that, like, as soon as a girl expresses this viewpoint, they're like, oh, she's a pick-me, she's just doing this for male attention. It's like they're unable to even understand that other people think differently than they do. And the reason why is they're just trying to bully her into not having that opinion. That's it. That's the only real reason why.
these things were just pandering to somebody. Because how could I possibly
exposed,
form this
yeah.
original opinion without your permission? Video games are art. Video game characters are art. It's also valid to criticize the art for very obviously approaching female character design with this caution against the gooners that in actual fact is creating a hostile attitude towards femininity. Whatever side of this argument you're on,
you ever see like anytime a girl posts a photo and she's really skinny, there's like a fat chick or something like that, or like some other form of hog that you know, is saying something like, oh, where's her organs, like you need to eat some more, girl. Like, yeah, a fridge. You know, like there's always somebody that does this, right? And yeah, you eat some more food, and it's like somebody like, nah, nobody hates these girls. What, skinny shaming? Yeah, no, it happens a lot. It does. Fridge guarding the snacks.
Are entitled to your own opinion. You don't have to agree with me. One thing that I will stand very firmly on is that equating femininity, just the simple concept of femininity without sexual attraction, without all of that, equating it to something really vulgar and using terms like fuckability and gooner game, especially when you're shown examples of something really tame and just like elements that women really cannot help having. When you use such harsh language to describe all of that, you are part of the problem. That's my take on the situation. I hope you guys.
Of course they're part of the problem, because they're the ones that are causing it. They're the whole thing. They're the entire problem. And then guys that virtue signal in order to hopefully get girls to think that. Like, and again, I think a lot of guys are not about this stuff. They don't really play a lot of these games. They don't really care about this stuff. They don't go after girls that look like this. And again, that's why I always use the cosplay example again, is that these girls never cosplay these characters. They don't want to look like these characters. And to the extent that they're told that they look like these characters, they're insulted. And so, like, really, that's it. As a really skinny man, I got skinny shamed a lot whenever I was in school. Oh, I did too. Like, you know, I'm like 135. I'm like 6'3". I'm pretty skinny. Actually, might be 140. But you know, I'm getting fat, right? And so I'm a really skinny guy. And whenever I was a kid, I would get made fun of a lot for being really skinny. And so because of that, you know, like it made me insecure about the way that I looked. But the funny thing now is that, you know, I go on Facebook and I see people on Facebook, and all the people that would say that about me, they're all fat now. They're all fat and old and ugly. And meanwhile, I'm skinny and old and ugly still. And so all of them have turned into being fat. Every single one of them. And that's it, man. It happens, yeah. And so, like, all the hogs, bro, like, that's the revenge. Y'all had this happen before, too? They have more gray hairs? Yeah, bro. Like, they had gray hairs. It's not good. And, yeah, it's sad. Revenge of the hogs, yep.
This video.
Revenge
if you
on
did,
the
please be sure to
hogs.
leave a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. As always, huge shout out to my channel members, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Be seeing you. Bye.
That was a good video. I agree, and I think that again, it's just completely the entire thing is just totally fucking pushed by unattractive, ugly, jealous women. That it's like literally. I mean, Snow White was based off of this. Like it really. That's how long ago. Like, and that they had to change that up. Because of like, oh, how problematic it is. Give the girl a, what do you call it? Give the girl like Antrotosh. I've watched her videos before. How the fuck are your teeth white whenever they drink soda like water? Well, the reason why is that they're not my teeth. That's the reason why. And actually, to be honest, I brush my teeth every single day. And, you know, that definitely does help. But I have a lot of fake teeth also, right? And, yeah, I had most of them rot out whenever I was young. And so that's just what it is. We were trying out Do It Night Abyss, Asmongold. Oh, it's Rich's alt account. Okay, that's great. And so, yeah, bro, I'll see that whenever you're younger. Yeah, no doubt. And so, anyway, yeah, using a straw also helps. Yeah, no doubt. But anyway, I do really agree with her on this, right? Because, like, I just see how much of this like hostility and negativity that happens with people, and it's just so unnecessary and weird. And I think that the reason why it happens more than anything is because, very simply, because a lot of girls go on the internet, and this is guys do the same thing too, right? The people that are like getting mad at her for like, oh my God, you're wearing a low cut shirt. you know, like imagine that, right? I think we just we spent plenty of time talking about that earlier today, right? Of people that get mad about stupid stuff like that. You have like 4 teeth. I have I have 4 teeth left, and 4 real teeth. Other than that, they're all fake. Like every bottom tooth that I have is fake. Damn, no, that's just what happened, bro. Like, and the thing is that, I mean, I get that, you know, again, I get that, like, some people go and they're like, oh, wow, this is, like, sad or whatever. That's just what happens, bro. Like, that's what happens. Overall, I think that, you know, again, I think this is very true. And I think that this is mainly pushed by women inside of the gaming industry that are made insecure by these types of characters. And they want to see themselves in the characters. But the problem is nobody else wants to see them either. And so that's how they kill these games. And I think that men go along with it because there's, like, an implicit sexism by pushing back against it, because you have like a toxic positivity nature or a culture inside of that workplace, and so men don't feel like they're able to talk about it. But I'll link you guys the video again, and they'll be able to you guys can give it a like. I do definitely fucking agree with this.